The amazing gems that our guests have said during the 30-day exhibition series, I felt needed a bit more context and a bit more spotlight. We had some amazing guests during this series, and today I will be reacting to some of the gems that they have said. I hope you enjoy.
Garage Hive always seem to get this quite right. It's something slightly different. They gave oversized mugs, which are like these huge mugs, and it's just a real talking point. Now they've got quite a big community that they work with, and obviously I'm a customer of theirs. Those sort of slightly unusual things stand in memory. Varta did it with socks. Padgett do it with Lego, little Lego brake pads. These sorts of memorable things. I can remember them. These are suppliers to our brand, but they stick in my mind because they're interesting and they're unusual. Castrol just did a Lego rally car at their recent conference. Everyone was desperate to get these, these sort of products because it's a little bit different.
So when it comes to exhibition gadgets and gizmos, it can be slightly controversial, or at least in my opinion, when it comes to, like, do we just do a pen? Do we get a pen? Do we get some mugs, and do we send those out? And it can be a bit difficult to actually choose what you want to give out. But I would probably say it either needs to be something of great novelty, like for example when Tim is referencing the Lego mini brake pads, etc., something cool, or it needs to be something of great value. So I know that Core Diagnostics did like kneeling pads, for example, and this is things that mechanics can actually use. So rather than a pen, rather than a mug, I'd probably do something of great novelty or of great utility. I'd say that those are the two categories that you need to look into. What's something kind of cool that somebody will take away and is memorable, even if they don't keep it, it's memorable of your brand and associated and relevant to your brand, or what's something that they will keep around for a long time. I know that you could say a pen, but people have millions of them. What's something that they might have one of that's going to have your brand on and they're going to associate with your brand day in, day out because of that?
Nobody wants to read War and Peace when you go onto a stand. So if you've got a stand full of text, you're gonna stop people coming on because they think if they can't articulate what they want me to understand in 6 words, then I'm going to be wasting my time because I have absolutely no clue what they do. So what we say to clients is no more than 6 words, but really striking visuals, whether that's your logo, whether it's something showing what your service is, because psychologically, when they think about the exhibition, they see the graphics in their mind's eye, and then they remember what the 6 words were. And it's been proven statistically from exhibition research in the past.
That graphics is just a way of capturing people's attentions. It's not the way for you to tell a visitor absolutely everything about your business. It's just a way for them to very quickly go, is this a service or a product I need in my business? Is this worth me having a conversation with the stand staff? You don't have to tell them everything. It's just enough to capture their imagination.
So when it comes to any marketing campaign, it could be an exhibition, it could be an advert. Sometimes we want to cram as much information as possible. It's like, oh, they need to know this, they need to know this, they need to know this. And instead, it's better to give an overview that's kind of a teaser, right? So go with the outcome that you solve and who you solve it for, but then leave it open so that there maybe is some questions. So it needs to be direct. So for us, for example, we would say we grow automotive brands online. So we know that now we grow them online. Who do we grow? So when it comes to those words that you're picking out, who is it for and what do you do and what's the outcome more than the actual features and benefits of the product. Now, when it comes to graphics, there's a debate that I had quite a long time ago, which is graphic design art? And I said no, because art is subjective. It can be open for interpretation, right? Whereas graphic design should not be the same. Graphic design should be something that guides the customer to the interpretation that you want it to have. So when you are looking at your graphic design, make sure that it explains something clearly and then also gets them to do the action that you want. So it could be that you're actually showing the usage of the tool. It could be that you are just guiding and having it so that, like Steve said, your memory of those 6 words is now paired with that graphic that you see.
13% of exhibitors actually follow up any leads that they get. 13. It's a ridiculously small number. So We hear from clients, from exhibitors all the time who say, oh, I didn't get anything back from that. And it's like, well, how many people have you followed up with, had a conversation with? Well, we didn't really think it was worth it after the show. Well, there you go. So, but know what your follow-up campaign is going to be. Know what the first email is that they should get whilst they're still at the show. Then in the next few days afterwards, depending on how you've categorized that lead, are they hot, lukewarm, chilly, gold, silver, bronze, however you categorize it? What contact are they getting from you? How do you keep them engaged? So 7 points of contact it usually takes before somebody will buy from you. So what are the 7 things that you're going to do over the next 6 months to keep in touch? So I think that's the big one, is just talk to all of those people.
It is absolutely insane that you would spend the amount that you spend on an exhibition and not follow up with the prospects that you have actually gathered. It seems like the craziest thing that I've ever heard. So when it comes to follow-ups, the first thing that you need to do is plan that ahead of the event. Do not follow up after manually, right? So what you don't want to do is put your sales reps on a stand for the next 3 to 4 days, absolutely knacker them out, and then send them and have them do all the manual follow-up. No, go into your CRM, like the V8 CRM, plan all of it out ahead of time, and then make sure that you are sequencing and segmenting your audience so that they're getting the appropriate message at the appropriate time. So, like Nicola mentions here, when it comes to how you're segmenting them, are they hot, are they warm, are they cold, however you want to do that. Are they a garage owner, are they a technician, are they an apprentice? How do you want to reach out to them? Then when it comes to that, each of them will have a different follow-up, because they might have a different need and you want to speak to their pain point specifically. So when it comes to a follow-up, I think we do have a video on this in our series of those touch points that you'd want to make. But also, as Nicola said, you have these 7 touch points and not all of them should be through email. So when you're inside your CRM, you want to put in the email follow-up so that you've already templated them, they're out and they're personalized. You then want to notify your sales reps to give a call, to show up at the workshop, to send a personalized email. Maybe you want to send a gift that they referenced at the show. Whatever the personalized touch point that you can do so that the actual frequency of those touch points is shorter, because then you're probably going to lead to the sale quicker. For example, I could do those 7 touch points within 24 months, or I could do them within 6. Whatever is appropriate in order for you to get to the sale without being too obviously full on with the customer. But when it comes to following up, always plan it prior to the show rather than after.
So there are some real key behaviours that come up time and time again in research that put visitors off coming and speaking to exhibitors on stand. The prime one is seeing people eating and drinking. Worst thing you can do, eat and drink on your stand. People on their phones doing emails or sat on a laptop being ignored and not being listened to. Those are kind of the top 3 things.
I mean, you can't get as clear as that. If you're chomping away on a burrito at your stand, or if you're head down into work, people are going to naturally not want to disturb you. They're also probably not going to want to have that burrito on their face when you're talking to them. And finally, not listening. I know that it can be a grueling 3 days, but I think the important thing that you need to realize that when you're on the stand, you are the reputation and brand that you are showing up for when it comes to the company that you're serving. So if you have a company and you want to be charismatic, you want to be kind, you want to be friendly, then make sure that you are exhibiting that in yourself and that you're not actually doing those 3 key mistakes that Nicola mentions there. We need to be in the mindset of, I am representing my brand, I am representing my company, which means that my attitude, my behavior is a direct reflection on whether or not somebody would want to do business with my brand. I know that's a lot to take on, but at the same time, if you do not do it, then it could be that you're wasting the sale. And then also the amount of people that are going to pass and see you do those things, it's just not worth the risk. Instead, there's a canteen, there's outdoors, you've probably got a storage room. Do it all in private. Don't do it at your stand. So yeah, when it comes to exhibitions, in the same way that you would polish a video before you send it out, you want to do that to your attitude, to your energy, to how you're coming across on the day.
We run a very successful what's called a co-marketing program, where we essentially give digital assets, we offer advice, we give them access to partners, to PR agencies around how they could maximise their presence at the show. Now, the great thing about this is it's all free of charge. And essentially, the more information that I get from me and my team in terms of content creation, telling us about their news, telling us about what they've been doing on the stand, the more successful their show is going to be. You know, I can certainly get people to the entrance, but what I can't do so well is get people to the individual exhibitor stands. So for us to be able to have that almost sort of matrimony with the exhibitor, with that partnership, 100% they will have a much more successful time at Autumn Again.
It's so often that we want to front these things on our own, right? And when it comes to a marketing strategy, sometimes we can be so into what we're doing when it comes to the stand, when it comes to our outreach, our prospecting, our offer, our brochures, everything, hotels, etc. But if the exhibitors, if the event organisers are actually giving you the opportunity to use their reach, use their assets, then it seems like a no-brainer. So when it comes to sharing news, when it comes to the company updates, make sure that you're hitting those deadlines, make sure that you're putting in that information. And then also, I would say, whatever exhibition that you're at, make sure to ask the event organisers whether or not they have a scheme like this, because Automechanica has been more than friendly in order to do that. But we also need to make sure that we are checking this off as part of our list. As much as the brochure is super important, as much as the stand design is super important, it's also such a leg up when we are using the event organisers' reach, which can far exceed our own and can also open us up to additional opportunities and additional audiences that maybe we weren't getting on our own socials. So using this kind of opportunity is huge when it comes to exhibitions.
If you know that you want to send email campaigns to people following the event, write them now. Like, it's the concept of it is, hi, we saw you at the show. It was great to chat. I'd like to speak to you more. Please can we arrange a time? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be massive, but if that's going to be the best way for you to follow up and start the ball rolling, then have it written before the show. Again,
we go back to Nicola's start of 13% are the only ones that follow up. I've been saying every episode that over 80% don't follow up. So it is as simple as what Joe is saying, literally. Hey, we saw you at the show. Obviously, you would like to get more personalised with that when it comes to your CRM, and that would be down to segmenting correctly. However, if you have just 5 minutes, you've done nothing else, you are, on the brink of your deadlines with everything else, make sure to just dedicate those 5 or 10 minutes so that your follow-up is going to happen after the show, because it's such a waste to spend the amount that you're spending. And then also, I can't imagine that it's very good for your brand. If I have had what I think is a very good conversation with Steve at your stand and then I never hear from him again, how am I going to feel about your brand when that happens? I'm going to feel unimportant. I'm going to feel ignored. I'm going to feel devalued. I'm going to be quite deflated, and I'm going to have a negative view of your brand because of that. So it's not just following up for following up's sake. It's we have now initiated a relationship, and it's you that has not taken the initiative to speak to me. I'm the prospect. I believe that I am important, and I thought that we had a good conversation, and obviously I've gone away, I've gone back into my routine, and now the next time that I think about your brand, I'm going to think, oh, I never heard back from them again. That's not a very organised company. Maybe I shouldn't deal with them. And instead, then you can lose them to a competitor. So following up isn't just, first off, you're not annoying the prospect. It's just checking in after a conversation that you've had. You've clearly scanned their badge for a reason, because you believe that they are somebody that you should get in touch with. So it's not just the fact that you're following up, it's also how does that reflect on your brand when you do.
Other advice I would offer them is make sure you're booking those meetings in advance. Make sure that your stand is catered for what is to come in terms of your customers. And also, I think a little sort of takeaway is make sure that your stand is appealing. We looked at and heard about from the exhibitors there how, not to exhibit, right? But we need to make sure that, for those exhibitors, certainly for the first time exhibitors, that they have interactive stands, that there are competitions, that it does create that curiosity when people are walking by a stand, that you can then sort of grab them and start a nice breaking conversation.
It seems like a no-brainer that you'd want quite an appealing stand. However, it's how you make it appealing. So I think my advice would be, if you're a first-time exhibitor or if you've previously exhibited before, go to an exhibit inside the industry and check what other people are doing. Check the appeal of their stand. Check how many people are at their stand. Check what they were doing. Do they have a game? Do they have a competition? Do they have spin the wheel? What do they have? What are they giving out? And then you can take notes and advice in order to apply that to your stand when your time comes. When it comes to the stand design, I'd probably sub this out to a professional to make sure that you're actually getting that message across. As Steve and Nicola Redia pointed out in one of the videos I reacted to, they've said 6 words with a graphic that makes sense, so that you're actually getting in the mind of someone, because they're going to be bombarded with essentially what are advertisements in the form of stands for the whole day. There's over 500 exhibitors at Automechanica, and when you get to the bigger shows like in Germany or the smaller ones, you can have a wide variety of the amount of exhibitors that are there. So that means that the message can be lost quite quickly. So what are you doing to make sure that that message stays inside your customer psyche and allows them to then take that message away with them so that they can then engage with you in future?